Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you all will be fine. So, as you have learned about Mr. Jessler Brothers shop and the quality of their shoes, now in this video we will continue the story. So, look at the paragraph. Then I would murmur, "Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Jessler." "Good morning," he would reply, still looking at the leather in his hand, and as I moved to the door, I would hear the tip-top of his slipper going up to the stairs to his dream of boots. So what happened? When Jessler gave him time of 15 days to make his shoes ready, the author thanked him and wished him with good morning. So the shoemaker also said good morning, and still the shoemaker was looking at the piece of leather which he had in his hand, and which the author selected for his shoes. The author further said that as he was about to go and went towards the exit door, he heard the same tip-top sound of slipper that was coming from the wooden ladder as the shoemaker was going up to his room. Now turn your page and look at the paragraph. I cannot forget that day on which I had occasion to say him, "Mr. Jessler, that last piece of boots creaked, you know." He looked at me for a time without replying, as if expecting me to withdraw or qualify the statement, then said, "It shouldn't have creaked." "It did, I am afraid." "You got them wet before they found themselves." "I don't think so." Now in this paragraph, the author complained about Jessler's shoes. He said to shoemaker that the last shoes which he had bought creaked. Creaked means a kind of shoes that comes from the shoes because of damage. So what happened? The shoemaker was surprised when he heard a complaint about his shoes, because his shoes are so good in quality that he never got any complaint before that. And he was like waiting that the author would change or correct his statement. He couldn't believe that his shoes may be damaged or creaked, but the author stayed on with his complaint. Then the shoemaker said that you might have got those boots wet. The author said, "I don't think so." It means the author wants to say that I don't get those shoes wet. Now look into your book. Once only I went absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. He took my order without showing me any leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my boot. At last he said, "Those are not my boots." Sorry, one paragraph is left before that, so look at that paragraph. At that he lowered his eyes as if hunting for memory of those boots, and I felt sorry I had mentioned this grave thing. "Send them back," he said. I looked at them. Some boots," he continued slowly, "are bad from birth. If I can do nothing with them, I take them off your bill." So when the author made no change in his statement, then the shoemaker downed his eyes and trying to remember about those shoes, that how those boots may damage and creaked. and the author was also feeling sorry. He was feeling like, why did he say all these? Then Gessler said, take those shoes to me, I'll repair them. And he also kept on saying that there may be some defect in the shoes from the time of making them, and if I cannot repair them, I'll return the price of those shoes. Now look at the paragraph. Once only, I went absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. Absent-mindedly means casually, without intention. He took my order without showing me any leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot. At last he said, those are not my boots. So once what happened, the author casually went into the Gessler shop to order a pair of shoes for himself. He was wearing shoes which he bought from a big shop in an emergency. So the shoemaker took his order without showing any leather, and he was looking at the narrator's boot, and at once he recognized that those shoes are not made by him. Now look into your book. The tone was not one of anger, not of sorrow, not even of contempt. Contempt means insult. But there was in it something quiet that froze the blood. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on a place where the left foot was not quite comfortable. So when he recognized that the shoes which the author was wearing was not by him, so he said, these shoes are not by him. And while saying this, there was no anger, sorrow, or insult in his sound, but there was something, and it was like he was feeling bad that why did he bought from other big shops. So he bent down and put his finger on the boot, on the area from where it was looking fashionable, and he claimed that these shoes are only fashionable. There is no comfort in these shoes, and according to the Gessler, these shoes were fashionable but lacked perfection, as he found the defect in those shoes. Now look into your book. It would hurt you, he said. Those big firms have no self-respect. And then, as if something has given way within him, he spoke long and bitterly. It was only the time I ever heard him discuss the condition and hardship of his trade. So Mr. Gessler, pointing out the place where he put his finger, he said that these shoes hurts you here. Those big shops have no self-respect and not any perfection. They neither care quality nor customer. The author said that this was the first time when the shoemaker discussed the condition and the hardship and difficulties of his business of making boots. Now come to the next page. They got it all, he said. They got it by advertisement, not by work. They took it away from us who love our books. It come to this presently, I have no work. Every year it gets less. You will see. And looking at his lined face, I saw things I had never noticed before, bitter things and bitter struggle, and what a lot of grey hair there seemed suddenly in his red beard. So while discussing the hardship and the condition of his trade, the shoemaker told that how those big shops attract the customer, and he said that they attract people and customer by advertisement, not by work. It means they have no quality, only they cheat people by advertisement. But we have not enough money to advertise, so they grab our customer. By this, our customer gets less every year. The author was listening very carefully, looking at his wrinkled face, and then he realized the hardship and struggle of shoemaker. Now come to the next paragraph. As best I could, I explained the circumstance of those ill-omened boots, but his face and voice made so deep an impression that during the next few minutes I ordered many pairs. They lasted longer than ever, and I was not able to go to him for nearly 2 years. So when the author heard the condition and struggle, he explained under which condition he bought the boots from big shop. But the expression on the face of shoemaker was quite sad, which made a deep impression, and the author was feeling so sorry for the shoemaker. So he ordered many pairs of boots, thinking that this order would help him to get out of the problems. And after that, the author couldn't get chance to visit again the shoemaker around 2 years, because the shoes were so good in quality and lasted many years. I mean around 2 years. Because of that, the author couldn't get chance to visit again. So this is your today's lesson. I hope you have understood it very well. Thank you very much for watching this video.